Howdy, folks. This is, who am I? I don't know. I get myself mixed up with my twin brother. Actually, I'm kidding. I'm an unemployed comedian. My name is Charles Deering. This is Scrolling with Charlie. We have a co-host, Russ Clarity, but I'm going to go left to right just to be special. Season 1, Episode 19, by the way. See if we can make it to 20. Okay. Starting left to right, we're going to do a roll call. As if you've never watched the show before, maturity is not an option. Starting from the left, we have Rick Hutchison out of Grimes, Iowa. Go for it, Rick. You're muted, Rick.
Rick Hutchison, Grimes, Iowa. Got a website, scrollsaws.com. Facebook and YouTube under Rick Hutchison.
Would you like to spell your last name in case anybody wants to locate you?
Hutcheson. I'll try to get my banner across.
10-4. I'll go to the co-host last. Mr. Trevor Carter out of Canada. I don't know which part, so I'll let him tell us.
Hey, everybody. Trevor Carter here, Trevor's Woodshop. You can find me on Facebook under Trevor's Woodshop, find me on YouTube under Trevor's Woodshop, and you can find me on Twitter under Trevor Carter.
By golly, if you don't know Trevor Carter, then you can't find him. And we have Hans Bierman, the former Mexican. I don't know where he's living now. That sounded racist. He's used to live in Mexico. He just moved, or he's in the process of moving. John Schaffner's in New York. He's watching. Thank y'all, guys. We have 2 viewers. Now we have 4. Y'all say howdy, and we'll say howdy back. So we got John. Thank you. What's your face? Oh, I'm doing good today. John Schaffner and Hans Bierman, thank you very much for watching. I don't believe we've ever had Trevor on the panel before, so it's good to have him. We've actually been talking for quite a while now, and he went and got all employed and crap, and we don't talk near as much. Just because he needs to make a living.
Kind of sucks, don't it?
Yes, stupid bills. Okay, I'm going to run over to my hairy co-host, Simply Wooden Creations, Russ Clarity. Go for it, out of Mulberry, Florida, up in his house.
Hey, I'm Russ Clarity, Simply Wooden Creations. I've been scrolling for around 35 years. Been woodworking since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. Yeah, I keep on saying that, knee-high to a grasshopper. But I have. My father, I remember from very early ages going out into the job site where my father worked. But SimplyWoodenCreations.com, Simply Wooden Creations on Facebook, and I have just started producing some videos. I think I'm up to like 6. Simply Wooden Creations on YouTube. So if you would, join me, like me, subscribe to me. Anything you want to do to me, go ahead. Just make my day.
Not anything, because this is a family show. We have Dan, also goes by DWSSR, too, in the in the Q&A deal, and he says howdy. Hi, I am here. Hans Bierman says howdy, Charles. Still in Mexico, busy wrapping things up. Good deal, Hans. I think he's going to Canada. You talk about a big switch. He just jumped right over the U.S. So Trevor, you're gonna have to deal with Hans. Anyway, Lee Nyden says evening all. Howdy diddly. Unfortunately, this is the part where y'all got to hear about me. I'm Charles Deering, Gatesville, Texas, about halfway between Dallas and Austin, about 2 hours either way. And on Facebook, I go by the Charles Deering because Charles Deering was taken. Can you tell I've said this a couple times? Okay, and YouTube, I go by Charles Deering Scroll, and I have about 64 videos. Some are worth the crap, some are not. But you got to figure out which ones are with. Sorry. Okay. Russell, would you mind clearing the Q&A section after I mention the last comment?
Okay.
Mark Stalling says, "What's up, Trevor?" And it's only because I got to go into the topics, and I don't want to get mixed up. But so far, I've covered everybody there. Thank you all for watching. By the way, we already have 15 viewers. My God, I'll do it. Okay. Say something funny or clever or scroll star related while I'm clearing this out, because we're professional here.
Yeah, I can't say something funny.
No, it's too late because I'm already there. No, I'm already funny. I'm done clearing the crap out. Yes, we are the show. There's the model for organization. Jeffrey Super, who's on our midday show, not on it, but watching it, says, howdy, by the way, I really enjoyed your father's show tour. Shop tour, I think is what he means. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it too, and he won't let me bring the dang bandsaw home. Y'all write to my daddy. I want the bandsaw. No, don't write to my daddy. He'll kick my butt for giving out his address. So,
Actually, I'm going to say something about that. Your dad's shop is a lot cleaner than yours.
oh, God, yes. I think I mentioned that in the, who's or was it, the tour, right? I don't take after him when it comes to cleanliness, at least not as often. Anyway, today's topics are right here. But I can't even get to them because people keep writing. Duh. Mark Stalling says, duh, the blade is dull. I don't know where the heck that fits in. Lee Nyden says, funny. Thank you. Appreciate that. What do you mean the blade is dull? What the hell does that mean? Sorry, this is a family show. I'm in hecky poop. Okay. God, I'm in a rare mood tonight. Okay. It's better than a panic attack. By God, I'm back. Y'all are stuck with me. Do you want to hear the topics or do you not? Huh?
Yes, I want to hear them. Come on.
All right. People keep writing. Oh, he wants to.
Don't worry about it. There are people. I'll read the questions. You just start on the show.
Even Mark Stallings, even when he's not in the room, he's distracting me. Okay.
Go ahead.
Tonight's topics. It's always this fun, Trevor. You're going to want to keep coming back. You don't have to keep yourself muted because it's a tiny panel. Blade selection and wood selection, and Rick Hutchinson will be helping us with that because we have no brain cells. Accessories like magnifying lights and foot switches, the benefits and where to get them, and how what we do is therapeutic. And if you've been watching for any amount of time, you know I need therapy. But and if you watch for any amount of time, you probably need therapy. So it's probably because you need therapy that you watch. But being that we haven't had, Trevor, you don't have to stay muted, homie. Homie, that's what we call our panel members, by God, because we care.
The only reason why I'm staying muted is because my little one's behind me and she's got allergies and she's coughing a little bit every now and then. So sometimes it might, if somebody else is talking, it might end up switching over to me. That's all.
No problem. Tim, I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to close the Q&A because of Mark Stalling. He's a curse to me. Love you too, Mark. Anyway. By God, Rick, throw some maturity in this puppy and talk about blade selection.
Okay.
What blade is good for what?
Well, I use the Olsen blades, and you know, when I first started scrolling, everybody always told me use the biggest blade you possibly can for the project. And I guess my theory has always been I go back the other way, and I use the smallest blade that I can. On my website, I do have a chart of what I recommend for blades and the different uses of them. I pretty much use just the standard reverse skip tooth blades. I do once in a while go over to the Mach series blades if I've got some wood that I'm really having a hard time getting to cut with the other blades. And if I've got really hard wood or thick wood, I'll go to the PGT blades, the precision grounds.
Okay, now you're talking about types of blades. Okay, you mentioned Olsen, then you mentioned Mach, and then you mentioned PGT. Are these brand names?
They're different styles of blade, or I guess you'd say styles. They're all Olsen blades.
Oh, okay.
Reverse skip tooth that I normally use, and then there's the Olsen Mach series, which is closer to the Flying Dutchman blades than an Olsen blade is. And then the PGTs are a precision ground tooth.
Okay.
And they cost, usually about $25 a gross for the regular reverse tooth, and about $35, $38 for the precision ground. They're a little bit more expensive, but they do cut thick and they do cut a lot faster. I don't think they really cut any smoother edge than the others.
Okay, not to jump subjects, but Rick, I don't know if it's your your audio or somebody else's, but I'm getting a little bit of buzzing in my ear when you talk, and a slight echo. Is anybody else hearing it, or is it just me?
No, I'm hearing the same.
Okay, you might be having audio difficulties. We're able to hear you. It just has like a staticky echo afterwards.
Yeah, I was kind of hearing it here on my end too.
Okay, so none of us are crazy. We are, but we're all hearing the same thing. So, okay, just to catch up on the Q&A, then I'll jump right back to you, Rick. E19, in case you did not know, we changed the format a little bit. We went to a smaller panel to pick and choose, and we will be choosing you soon. Because the shows were running so long, we figured a smaller panel will make the discussions go quicker, so you're not having a tech issue. So let me select that one and okay, Hans was getting a lot of feedback, okay. And okay, I've already addressed that. And
I would like to say something.
Go ahead.
When you're doing that, the PGT on the Olson, what is that? Precision ground tooth.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, Mark Sherman, I believe, was telling me when he was cutting that eagle that you had recommended those blades to him, and he was like, told me it was like there was a big difference in how they cut the wood and how better it was. And I wished he was here tonight so he could tell us about how better they were than the other types of blades. So is this something that what do you use them for, and when do you use those?
When I did, like what Mark ran into, was that tough wood that was hard to cut. That's when I go to these precision ground. If you look at them, people are really coarse on them. Well, spaced far apart, I guess. And they do cut real aggressive. So the harder woods, they do cut not. But I think they're too darn expensive to use as an everyday blade for cutting the project.
And where do you get yours from? I mean,
I buy them mostly through Sloan's Wood Shop in Tennessee.
and they carry those. Oh, that's good to know. I have never. I've tried some Olson blades, and we've talked about this before, so it's not a big or a new issue. But wasn't impressed by them. But I would, when Mark told me about those PGT blades, I was like very impressed with what he said, how they cut them. So I'm gonna try to order some just to try them.
Yeah, they're expensive, but they're good for certain projects.
All right, yeah, and there again, scrolling and scroll saws, sometimes you get what you pay for. Now, forgive me if I keep jumping out because I'm trying to keep up with the Q&A section. Mark Stallings says, welcome back, Charlie. I appreciate that, Mark. It's good to be back because I don't like freaking out. And John Schaffner was letting Lee know about the technical, that the panel is smaller. Alan Carter saying here's the echo also. And Dan Engerbretson says, I keep running out of number 3 blades, so I just ordered 12 dozen, which is a gross, Flying Dutchman number 3 spirals. That ought to last a while. What blades do you use for portraits? And I'm going to go ahead and start with Trevor, since he hasn't gotten to talk a lot because of my babbling. But
For the last little while, I was using, I'd go into Home Depot and buy the Ryobi blades. It came in a package of, I believe it was 24. There was 8 spiral blades, there was 8 reverse tooth number 3s, and 8 regular spiral blade, or yeah, 8 regular blades. I forget what they were, but it was like $22 or $24, and I've lately went into Home Depot to get another package, and they didn't sell them no more. So I wound up going to my local Home Hardware here just outside of town, and what all they have in there is Pegasus blades, I do believe they were called. They were number 2 reverse tooth blades. I've heard a lot of bad reviews and stuff on the Ryobi stuff, but if I could go back to them right now, I think I would.
Oh, you,
Well, the Flying Dutchmen are now sold through woodandteddybearonline.com if you want to try them for the Flying Dutchman, just to compare if you haven't tried them.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
think if I was going to stick with the Pegasus, then I think I would try the Flying Dutchman. For some reason, I don't know what it is about the. I find with the Ryobi, they're very thick. Like even a number 2, like a tiny little blade, but I find they're just as thick, and I found them to be very durable. I mean, I could get 6, 7, even 10 pieces out of one blade. I mean, it would last forever.
Yeah,
But the
Pegas for the viewers is Pegas.
But the Pegasus I find are so thin, and I don't know, they just don't seem to be very sharp. I mean, I'm lucky to get half of a piece out of it, and then I'm stuck changing a blade. Like the video that me and my daughter did of the Mickey Mouse, she went through 3 blades to be able to do that. And to me, I'm not used to that.
That may be the drawback to the Pegas, and that's no offense to Pegas, but
No,
Flying
not at all.
Dutchman, a lot of people tout on the Flying Dutchman. And before I get to you, Russ, whatever you had to say, we have 2 comments. Oh, no, just one. I already said that one. Brad Matthews out of Australia says PGT blades cost the same as normal blades here in Australia, right? Mate, alright, so they cost the same there. And for anybody that didn't understand that because of my goofy accent, Rick was saying they're more expensive, but they cost the same as normal blades in Australia. And Russ, what did you want to say while I was babbling?
no, I was just first off, Trevor. What type of scroll saw are you using?
788.
Oh, so the DeWalt. Yeah.
Yep.
My friend, go over to the Flying Dutchman blades and order you some of those flat blades, or the number 3 for what you're probably doing, even the number 5. And I'll tell you what, you will, once you put them in there and start cutting with them, you'll go like, oh my God, I should have ordered these in the very beginning. That there's a big difference in the blades. If you think these Ryobi blades are really good, actually, if you'll just give me your address or email it to me, I'll send you some of these. And once you try these, you'll go like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. These are great. The Ryobi blades are probably really aggressive, and they're not really what you're looking for. But Flying Dutchman will, I mean, I'm telling you, number 3 or a 5 Flying Dutchman will cut anything. And Rick will even go back with the Olson, and he'll tell you. But get away from those Ryobis.
That was the only thing that I did like about the Ryobis is, like I said, a number 3 is going to be your tiny little blade, but then the thickness of the blade wasn't as thin as these little Pegasus or even like I'm sure of the Flying Dutchmans. These here seem to be a really thick blade, so I mean it seemed to last forever.
Well, you're not used to using a regular scroll saw blade. You're used to using what I think we're talking about as a flat blade, because I didn't even know Ryobi made flat end blades. So you're used to using a big flat blade, and that's the reason they're lasting forever.
Now, as far as like the size of them or whatever, I mean, I'm able to do smaller things, and it's nowhere near the size of the blade of a, say, like a pinned blade. But I mean, when Charlie and I were on the summer show here, probably what, say 8-9 months ago.
Something like that.
Charlie was doing a picture, and I did one of his patterns actually. It was the General E, and that's all I used was the Ryobi blades. And Charlie was going through what 2-3 blades or whatever to do his, and that was kind of the kick of the show. Because I was teasing Charlie. Okay, well, how many blades have you gone through this segment? In
my defense, I was rushing for the sake of the show. My God, I broke 4 or 5 blades doing a little simple shape. I think Rick was wanting to say something. Go ahead, Rick.
We get to talking about using different blades of different sizes. That's one problem with the blade industry. They didn't set a standard according to every blade. A number 5 in one brand is a number 3 in another brand, and an L blade in another brand. you've actually got to look at their blade charts and try to compare what's what.
Exactly.
Yeah. In case anybody cannot make out what Rick is saying, he's saying that there, for some reason, there's not a standard. And I'm only repeating what Rick said because I'm having trouble hearing him, but I barely made it out. He's saying there's not a set standard chart for all scroll saw blades that tell you one size compares to another, or in other words, they don't all go by the same sizes. A number 3 on one can be thicker or smaller than a number 3 on another one. So unfortunately, you got to trial and error.
It's not only the size, but its blades or teeth per inch would be different from one scroll saw blade to another. Yeah, there's no set definition from, just like you said, Charles. There's no set definition. If I use a number 3 Olson or a number 3 Flying Dutchman or a number 3 Ryobi, for instance, they're all not going to be in the same species.
Yeah, they're all going to be totally different.
Yeah, they're going to be, the blade, the teeth per inch is going to be different. The size is going to be different. There's so many variables. So they really need to come together. I mean, I would think at this point there's enough of us scroll saw people out here that they need to come together and get a universal so that we can all communicate on what the blades are made from.
It's actually gotten to the point around here where I live that there's so few doing it that, I mean, even my DeWalt 788, when I ordered my 788, I had to order it online. It had to be sent to my local, which is, you know, not even an eighth of a mile down the road, Home Hardware, and I had to pick it up there. And when I did pick it up there, compared to what you guys are paying for a DeWalt 788, I bet you I paid almost double. You guys are paying, say, $4.99 to $5.49 at the very most. Mine was $7.99, and it came with the light and the stand.
Wow. We got some stuff building up in the whatchamacallit Q&A. Mark Stalling, by the way, because of what Mark Stalling just said, for those that do not know, Mike Morlock at mikesworkshop.com no longer officially sells the Black Dutchman. He sold the business over to Wooden Teddy Bear catalog, and the website for them is woodenteddybearonline.com. If you type in woodenteddybear.com, it'll redirect you to the actual website, and they're not quite as quick as Mike was, but take in mind, scroll saw blades is not all they do. But as they get into that avenue longer, I'm quite sure they'll be quicker. But Mark Stalling says when he ordered some from them, it took 4 days, and that's only a day or two longer than it was with Morlock.
I just like to say one thing. I'm glad about that because when I ordered my Olson blades from them, I was very disappointed in the amount of time that it took for me to get the Olson blades from the time. I actually waited almost 3 weeks, so I had anticipated Mike selling his business, and I ordered stocked up, so I'm good to go.
10-4. I'm guessing Brian Gidney is not doing a show tonight because he's in the chat section. I mean the Q&A. Brian, wow. And
hey, Brian.
We had already offered Brian a position on the panel. Brian, if you still want to do that.
Bring him on.
Can Russ, would you mind messaging him the link to get on the panel? He's a beginner scroll sawyer, but he's done it before. And please, nobody in the Q&A feel like I'm leaving you out. It's because I invited him a long time ago and he wasn't able to make it because our shows happen at the same time. So if Russ wouldn't mind throwing him a link, I'm going to go to the Q&A again. Hans Bierman, which is in Mexico, says, mine was 800, Trevor, without the standard light. Good googly moogly, people. Okay. And Mark Stalling says that was Canadian dollars, Trevor, so it is the same. I think he's trying to be funny. And he wants to know what size drill hole does Trevor have to use?
For pre-drilling my holes, you mean?
Yes, sir.
I usually try to use like a little 1/8 bit if I can. And usually that's yeah, oh yeah, and there's usually more than enough. Gives me lots of room to work with.
Absolutely. All right, thank you for that, Trevor. Brad Matthews out of Australia was saying that he's calling them PGP blades. I don't know if he means if that's different from PGT, but he's saying they last a long time. And thank you for that, Brad. Brian Gidney says, hi, guys, and he also asked if we had room, and that's why we're trying to get you in here. And, yes, we've got plenty of room.
I think I just sent him the link, so I hope it did. If not, you want to follow up with that. But
yes, I'll do that as soon as I throw the question over to somebody. Brian Gidney has been doing a show called Summer's Woodworking for quite a while. I believe he's on his 3rd season now.
Throw me a question. I have a gift of gab, so
gift of gab.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jeffrey Super says there's a note on Steve Good's site from the new owner saying you can still use the old site, which is mikesworkshop.com, but it's still sent to you through Wooden Teddy Bear. But you can still
go ahead and do that, Charles, and I'll talk about it. From what we understand, yes, everything that you can use if you go to Mike's old site, you can still make contact, but it still goes through Wooden Teddy Bear. So they are trying, from the last time that I talked to Mike, they're trying to really expedite the service that Mike used to give us. I mean, I could order blades on a Monday from Mike, and on a Wednesday have them. So they're really trying to step up to the plate and put them there for us a lot quicker. I was really disappointed in my first couple of experiences with ordering Olsen blades. It took me 3 weeks to get my first set of Olsen blades from Wooden Teddy Bear. So I would hope that they could do a lot better than that on these Flying Dutchman blades.
Yeah, I don't know where I heard it or where I read it, but I saw a note from them saying, please bear with us as we do the, what I don't remember the term, the transition. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that Wooden Teddy Bear is a very good customer service, very good group of people, very easy to work with, very friendly, and very helpful. So I know that they're doing their best to be productive towards everybody. We now have Brian Gidney in here. I don't personally see a picture or anything yet, but Alan Carter is wanting to know from Trevor, where do you live that you're having to pay that much for a Delta 788?
I live just outside of Moncton, New Brunswick.
And you live in Canada.
Yeah, in Canada.
Canada.
And as far as the blades go, I think Russ was saying a couple minutes ago about getting in the Flying Dutchman in 2 or 3 days. That's the main reason why I went to the Pegasus, was because the local Home Hardware just down the road from me, the owners live directly across the street from me, and they told me that they can get it for me at any given time. It's just a matter of giving them a quick phone call, and it's the same idea. It's 3 days, but I mean, if you can get them from the other fella from 3 days, and they're going to be that much sharper, I mean, and you don't have to deal with the trouble, I think Russ is totally onto something. I'd say definitely go for it.
What I think we need to do for you is to get you some Flying Dutchman blades, and for you to try them, and then make your decision on what you really like. I mean, I
would love to try it.
Yeah, we need to get you some Flying Dutchman and try them, because just like you're talking about, as far as coming from the Ryobi blades, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably quite a difference.
Well, Russ was going to send me blades a long time ago, but I got tired of waiting, so I ordered them myself. I'm just saying.
Hey, you didn't order them for yourself. You got a whole new scroll saw with blades.
Well, yes. But anyway, in the interest of fairness, we have Brian Gidney. He's in, don't tell me New Mexico. I just don't remember arenas. Hey, he got my sticker. Look at that. By God, he got my Wooden Vision sticker the size of the CD case. I didn't know they were going to be that big. You can unmute yourself, Brian, and introduce yourself. Thank you for the plug, sir. I forgot to mention my website during my introduction. Go ahead and introduce yourself first, Brian. Good to have you on.
I'm just Brian Gidney. Just a nobody, man.
He's up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I posted a video on Instagram of the sticker. I got this one. I got the one from MF Woodshop. Yeah, I got your sticker already.
Russ got his stickers. Now, I only ordered a handful because I wanted to see how they were going to turn out, and I threw them out to a few friends. But
I got a question for you, Charles.
10-4, go for
Are
it.
you going to get one smaller than this?
Yes.
I want one for my scroll saw, please.
Okay, just so y'all know, Brian Gidney, it was Russ's idea to add wood grain, but Brian Gidney's the one that put the picture together. I made the logo, but he did the wood grain and the
Yeah, I put it all together.
yeah, he's the reason why I have the stickers, and he's the one that did this backdrop right here on my Hangout deal. And Brian, if you don't mind finishing your introduction as to where you're from, what your social media stuff is.
Oh, dear Lord.
He does this a few times a week.
Arenas Valley, New Mexico. My website is summerswoodworking.co. You'll see that I have a show. I'm running a contest in May, the 2x4 challenge. If you don't know what the 2x4 challenge is you make something out of a single 2x4 that's 8 foot long, no longer than that. And I got a YouTube channel, Summers Woodworking. And you'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Blogger, you name it. I'm on everywhere.
I haven't. I'm not very active on Instagram, but I'm on there. I don't even know what I go by, but I haven't connected with you on there, so I need to do that. But I don't mean to jump away from you, Brian. But we have a couple things in the Q&A. Hans Behrman says he's on month 5 of waiting for his FD blades or Flying Dutchman. So I'm thinking that's because of the transition. Hans, you may want to go to Wooden Teddy Bear or get with Mike Morlock and get him to verify that you've already ordered the bloody blades. And because it shouldn't take 5 months from anybody, unless they're walking them over.
Holy cow, 5 months waiting on
5
blades.
months, yeah, definitely coordinate between Mike Morlock and Wooden Teddy Bear. They should get you squared away because I know they care. And Smart Stalling says I use Skill then Bosch, Skill as in like SKIL, and then Bosch. Then I tried Olsen, now Flying Dutchman, and I like the Dutchman's the best. Good deal. Can't beat a Dutchman, by God. You can tell them I said that. I wish they would sponsor me. Dag nabbit. Go ahead, Russ.
No, I'm just going to say I've used Olsen. I've used somebody sent me some Pegasus just a while back, and I tried them. Hands down, I'll go back to Flying Dutchman. I mean, sorry, I like them. I hope Wooden Teddy Bear lives up to Mike Murlock's reputation as far as being able to produce them and get them out as fast as he did.
Yeah. Now, Russ, you know how I like to give you crap when you mispronounce things, okay? So put your chin in my hand. Okay, is it there? Okay. It's Mike Morlock, not Mike Murlock. It's Pegasus Blades, not Pegasus Blades. Okay, because you're going to confuse the viewers, all 19 of them.
Hey,
okay.
I'm a redneck from Florida. If you don't understand what I say, then kiss my
behind.
Exactly.
Well, I'm in Texas. I'm in Texas. That's about as south as you can get, by God.
No, we're a lot further south than you are. So don't even claim to be that far south.
Well, Stanky, you're that little peninsula, and
that's right. And imagine how that peninsula fits into the fact of life.
Yeah, imagine how many of them peninsulas fit in Texas. Don't get me started, by God. All right, now let's
Charles. You gotta respect your elder, man. Give him some
he is a pretty old fart. He farts dust. This is a family show. God bless America. Dan is saying Pony Express. So yeah, that's apparently how he's getting his blades. I hope that I'm confident between Mike Morlock and whatchamacallit, Wooden Teddy Bear, they will get that sorted out. I really hope so.
All right. So what's next on the list of what we're supposed to be talking about?
Well, I don't know if we covered it enough on blade selection because we're babbling. That's probably why Rick is sitting over there saying, well, you asked me to be on and you won't let me talk, you big babbling booger. Okay, let me ask Rick. Rick, in your opinion, since you've been doing this for so long, which blade style is best for which kind of project?
Well, like I say, I use the Olsen blades, and I use just the standard skip tooth reverse, for 95% of my cutting. And when I get to some harder woods or thicker woods, I will go to the mock series once in a while. And the PGTs, I don't cut a lot of the exotics, so I don't use them very often, but when I do get into some of the harder exotics, then I will go to those.
All right, 10-4. I appreciate that, Rick.
When he says that now, when you say that, what kind of woods are you cutting? Like cherry, mahogany, or those? And
my normal woods are the Baltic birch plywood, oak, cherry, walnut, cedar, pretty much the domestic hardwoods that are available here, native hardwoods. But usually it's oak, cherry, and walnut are the three that I use the most in hardwood.
Yeah. Thank you, Rick. I'm going to go ahead and go down the line because that probably is a panel question. Now, I wouldn't say Brian is a beginner scroll sawyer. He just doesn't have a lot of confidence in it compared to his other tools. He's mastered. He's playing with a lathe. He's using table saw, drill press. You know, he's using all kinds of things. But Brian, I guess by definition, might be a beginner, but he's done scrolling before. But Brian, do you have a particular blade style you prefer to use when doing a certain type of project on a scroll saw?
Yeah, free is the one for me.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I am pretty beginner. I started out with my Central Machinery scroll saw, and it came with 2 blades, and those blades really suck. I was about to throw that machine out the door and call it truce, you know, and give up scroll sawing because I didn't like the way it sawed. It was just picking up the piece, chattering it against the table. Even though I was holding it down and even had that little thing that holds it down.
Yeah.
And I got rid of that. Changed out the blades because Sterling Davis, he's another scroller.
Yeah.
I told him that I'd like to learn, and he sent me some Olson blades. And I tell you what, I'm still on the first one that I put in there.
Google him. Well, you only use a scroll saw like once a year, right?
Oh no, I do silhouettes and stuff. It's just I'm not big on portraits or making a lot of things off of the scroll saw.
Yeah, the scroll saw is definitely not his favorite tool.
But yeah, I like it when it comes to cutting hardwood. Yeah. I'd rather take a piece over to the scroll saw and cut it than versus my bandsaw, because when I take it over to my bandsaw, when the teeth hits that hardwood, it just yanks it right out of my hand.
Yeah.
Where the scroll saw, I can nicely, evenly, and I mean, I don't even have to sand afterwards. I can make my cut, and it's good to go.
Yeah, that's definitely the advantage to the flat blade over the spiral blade. Trevor,
I use it a lot when I get done like turning handles and stuff on the lathe, or if I need to part something off, because I'm still not at the comfortable stage yet of completely parting off my piece off of the lathe.
Yeah.
So I'll make a nice little tenon, and then I'll take it off of the lathe, and then I'll take it over to the scroll saw and cut it off.
10-4, appreciate that, Brian. I'm going to move on over to Trevor Carter. And Trevor, what is your preference of blade style for different kinds of projects?
My favorite so far for almost everything that I've done has been either a number 2 or a number 3 reverse skip tooth.
Reverse skip tooth. By God, he's got the Cadillac of blade choices there. Reverse skip tooth, double twister. By God, I just use number 3 and number 5 flat-ended spiral.
Everything else that kind of came with that kit, when I buy a package, if it happens to come with other stuff, I I either set it off to the side or I chuck it in the garbage, and those are the ones that I keep.
I'm getting some of that staticky feedback from you too as well, Trevor. Russell, did I already ask you this?
No, well, I would just like to say one thing. This is a hammer handle.
This is
what was your first clue?
This is a lighter. This is a lighter. This is a hat. Go ahead.
So out of ash, and I used. It took me 2 blades. Only reason was because I got a little aggressive with it, and I'll admit that. Even though, but this is using a number 3 flat blade, Flying Dutchman, scroll reverse, ultra reverse, and it cut this with. I mean, literally, the only reason I broke the first blade was because of the fact that I was getting excited when I was cutting through it, and just it was premature blade breakage. So
premature breakulation. Now, Russ, now you said that's gonna be your next video, correct, on YouTube?
Yeah, this is gonna be my next video. You have to set up a jig to be able to cut these, in all sincerity, but Flying Dutchman blades cut through this like hot butter, and this has got to be 1 inch thick ash. I didn't have any burning problems. I didn't have any problems whatsoever. I was very excited and pleased at how well it cut through these. I mean, I've been cutting through, been making these for a while, so.
Does your video tell people where they can how to make the jig that you used?
Yes. What I'm going to do is I've already started the video. It's about 3/4 of the way through, and I plan on having it posted by Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. It'll be the jig to hold this down. It's not really complicated, and the biggest problem you're going to have is that, number 1, I don't want all this metal on my scroll saw table rubbing around naturally. And the number 2 is when you get down here and cutting to the end, this is actually more than 14 inches away from the center of the blade, so it's going to hang off and want to twist. So you're going to have to build a jig for this to hold it in the center position. Actually, you'd be surprised. I laid this on my scroll saw table and cut the first hole simply out of this, right laying flat on my scroll saw table with the metal-to-metal contact. I just want to see if I could do it. But the problem is once you get down here to the end of the hammer becomes unsupported, and you have to make a jig for that. So this will be in my next video, but this is very much within the Flying Dutchman blades, and it's easy to do, and I'll have the next video out.
Okay.
Hey, Russ, I got a question for you. On that hammer of yours, are you going to fill that with epoxy or something? Because it looked like it would break.
I don't think he'll use it as a showpiece.
Yeah. This was not designed to be able to use. This was designed to be able to mount or give to a friend as a gift, a fellow woodworker.
Well, I tell you what, you put some epoxy in that, you can still use it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you could. There's no doubt in my mind. But I didn't cut this, and I've cut. Actually, this is about my 15 or 16 one I've ever cut in my scroll saw career, and I've given them to friends of mine, which were woodworkers. But they always liked them, and usually kind of like put this on a little mount on a tilt. So this is about my 16th one I've cut, but this will be the first video that I've ever done and show you how to cut it and actually show you the jig that I designed.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's such a simple idea, but it would be a dang good seller. I think pretty much anywhere you sell it.
Yeah, that's a heck of an idea.
And it only works on wooden handles unless you got some kind of cutting for it.
This is like in all sincerity, I've gave about at least 16 or 18 of those away to my fellow friends. So
You got to make me a woodenvisions.com or a Charles Deering one, if you don't mind, because I'll mess
it's
it
not
up.
that hard to do. But here I will give a little bit of secret away. Is not all hammers are the same. So unless you buy every hammer the same, you might have to alter the jig a little bit. But that'll be introduced in my video.
Okay. That looks pretty cool though. I like that.
That's definitely neat. I should have mentioned this before because I try to promote other scrollers, and I failed to do that, and I apologize. Mark Stallings has started a thing where he's challenging himself to do a cross a day for the month of April in celebration of Easter, and
Yes.
I believe his YouTube name is Mark Stallings, and in the interest of repeating his exact comment, it says, I've been doing my 30 crosses in 30 days using number 5 Flying Dutchman using half-inch Baltic birch stack cut to 1 inch. Thank you very
Yes.
much, Mark, and sorry for not mentioning that sooner. Cause
Yeah, he just finished up number 4, didn't he?
Yes.
I believe so, yes. And while I'm doing plugging, Brian, are you moving your show to once every 2 weeks or something? Because he usually has his show at the same time.
Nah, I do mine every week. It's just I'm taking this week off for Easter. And 2, I've been doing a lot of promotion with the 2x4 contest. So I've been trying to get sponsors and stuff up for it. So
and
it's looking promising, though.
Yeah, if you go to YouTube, look up Summers Woodworking. He has more details on the.
I would like to say that about back to Mark Stallings. I have been following his. He said he was going to do 30 crosses in 30 days. I've been watching every one you put on there, my friend.
Yep, same have I.
Yep.
Absolutely. I got people asking about being on the panel, and some of y'all I haven't heard from in a while, and unfortunately we've changed the format of the show. Instead of having a full panel, we reduced the size of it to try to reduce the length of the show, because going down the panel to some of the viewers' feedback was, in their words, monotonous, and so we figured shrinking down the panel would take less time to go down the panel when we were asking questions, but we try to mix it up and go to different people. So Josh Rhodes and Lee Nyden, we will be getting to y'all, I swear, especially the ones that were faithful panel members. We're going to try to get to y'all first. And people like Trevor and Brian, I don't believe we've ever had on the show before. And Brian usually has his show at the exact same time every week. So if you are into woodworking in general, more so than scroll sawing, check out Summers Woodworking show every Saturday at the exact same time as this show. And I've had the camera on Russ all that time. I guess you needed to see a pretty face while I was babbling. Let's move on to the next topic. I'm getting old over here.
They love me.
But I know. Clearly the world's going to heck in a handbasket.
Yeah,
Mark
I see Russ doing all the advertising and posting and stuff. I was like, what is it? Russ's channel now?
No, you happen to see the pages he posted on. We both posted links. Thank you very much. And I got the YouTube channel wrong. It's called Spiritual Splinters Woodshop on YouTube. Sorry about that, Mark Stallings, and glad we could help. Now, back to the notes. I feel like, what's his face? Jim Carrey. Really? Okay. Now, the next topic will be how to read your own writing. Greetings. Edgar Natcher says, greetings from Nevada. How you doing, Ed? Ed helped us earlier on the midday show.
Well, just like Russ says, keep it on the line.
God. Keep it on the line. Don't drink and scroll, okay? Now
Keep the blade on the line.
That's his, and mine is scroll on, so we both got the whole directional thing going. Anyway, if I could please get back to the topic.
Okay, I'll shut up.
All right. Okay. I love this show. I really do. I love it. Anyway, next is a pretty simple thingy. Who's or what's it? Topic is what we call it here in Texas. Accessories like magnifying lights and foot switches. I'm going to go to Russ on this one because, number one, everybody seems to like him for some reason, and he he has a magnifying light right next to him, over by his right shoulder. Show us. Okay, his left shoulder.
Personally, this right here.
Kind of hard to hear you, Russ.
You can't hear me?
It's harder to. You must have gone further away from your mic source.
No, I'm trying not to. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you, unfortunately. Go ahead. go ahead.
This is a Harbor Freight that I've had for the last 3 or 4 years. Magnifying light. I'm sure there are others out there, and I was told when I bought this it wouldn't last, and it wouldn't be any good, or the bulb would blow out. It has the original bulb, and it's been here for 3 or 4 years, so this I couldn't do without this light and this magnifying lens. My eyes are getting old, and I paid about $30 for this about 3 or 4 years ago. I just couldn't do without it, so that's one of the accessories that I would recommend. And next is the foot switch, which I can't get around to show you that foot switch, but that's also a Harbor Freight foot switch. It also has lasted me about the same amount of time that I did with this. The foot switch, every time you want to make an adjustment or anything on your scroll saw, you just lift off of that and the scroll saw stops. And then you can go back into what you want to do or move it a few inches, and then go back and
get closer. Can you get a little closer to the mic? It's kind of hard to make out what you're saying. I hear you, but it's a little hard.
Oh, but anyway, the foot switch is the next best investment that you could have. Because you can be cutting along and then come to a corner, and then I know people like to roll around the corners, but I found that when you get into certain places, the only way I can do this is to say, like when you get into places like when you're here in this A, and you're starting to scroll up into that, I don't like to be able to turn or just roll around that area. I like to go in and be able to gnaw out into it, so the foot switch becomes very, very, very detrimental. Is I can start and stop it, be able to make those cuts. So the foot switch would be the second thing that I would definitely recommend for you to be able to have for your scroll saw.
Yeah, another benefit to the foot switch is I did a 5-foot wide portrait of the group Metallica. They're a heavy metal group, if you don't know who they are. And if you have both hands full, that's another benefit to having a foot switch. And I don't mean to jump right out of that, but I'm going to jump into the Q&A and then go down the panel asking if they use any of these accessories. By the way, Hegner does offer, it's around $79-80 though, so I may have to go with a cheaper model for a magnifying light, and I'm starting to need that because I'm getting a little old. Anyway, I'm going to try to go in order here. Mark is no longer watching, or Mark is going to start his cross number 5, so he says I'll catch the rerun. Thank you, Mark. Somebody wanted to know the model number, Russ, if you don't mind getting the model number on that magnifying light.
Yes, I will do that and post it in where you can find it. I don't even know if they make these anymore because this is like 5 years old, so I will definitely look it up and post the number on it, but I don't know they even make those. But I mean, you talk about your Harbor Freight stuff, and I know people go like, Harbor Freight is a bunch of junk.
Some of their stuff.
Yeah, but I bought this from Harbor Freight almost 5 years ago, and I have this original bulb in it. It has never gave me a problem, so I don't disagree with what you're saying about Harbor Freight stuff, but the same aspect, well, this worked very good for me.
Yeah, every now and then you get lucky at Harbor Freight. I've never gotten lucky with them, but they to each their own. Russ Meadows says I just got a Harbor Freight also, and I love it. And Edgar Natras says, I try to keep my blade on the line, but my crayons have a mind of their own. You are a funny man, Edgar. Alan Carter says, a friend of mine in the OCSC club, I guess it has nothing to do with scroll sawing, Orange County Scroll Sawing Club, I don't know, I'm guessing, let me borrow his extra foot switch, and I love it. Yes, it's once you use it, you get kind of hooked on it, but I went without it for so long that even though I was hooked on it because I do large pieces, I forgot what I was going to say, so forget I ever started talking. John Schaffner says, I have the Rockler LED magnifying light. The light sucks, the magnifier is great, and my question moved. I went back to using DeWalt light I got with the saw. Yeah, I have to use a little lamp pointed at my saw, but I'm starting to need the
Yeah, I'll
magnifier.
have to. I read like Dangerwood.
Dan Ingerbretson, he says, Russ, I just searched Harbor Freight site and it doesn't show up anywhere. Bloody poop.
Well, this was like I've had this. I'm ancient. I'm sorry. This has been around for a long time.
All right, now I'm sorry if I babbled too much, but we are coming up on an hour, so I'm going to go down the line. Brian, Ray, that you aren't real experienced at scrolling, do you have any questions that you would like anyone on the panel to answer?
No.
Okay. Appreciate that. Appreciate you coming up.
Question for Russ.
Okay,
That clock behind you, that's pretty cool.
What?
That log cabin clock. Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying that's pretty cool, Russ.
Well, Brian, I made this 33 and I made this about 33 years ago. She was 3 years old when I made this. Pretty much everything on this was made with scroll saw. I know you find this hard to believe, but I actually cut the siding. I would take 3/4 inch material and lay it on the scroll saw and cut to get this thin wood, because I didn't have a big wood shop at the time. And then out of that thin wood, I actually laid it down and then cut individual shingles, if you can see, and pasted them on to make the roof. So you look at this and say, no, this wasn't made with a scroll saw. Yeah. This is 33 years old, and I made it with a scroll saw. And
I love the look of that.
You need to get in on the birdhouse competition.
Yeah, well, this wasn't created as a birdhouse. I understand what you're saying, and I thank you for that. But and you know, today when I brought this out here to make the show, the clock quit working. I think I have to go back. I made a hole in the back, changed the battery in it so I could get my hand up in there. I don't know if the battery's dead or this is the original clockwork, so I don't know if the battery died today or if I need to replace the clockwork. But this thing is 33 years old.
Wow.
I appreciate that, guys. I don't mean to jump away from y'all. We got the thing filling up. Harbor Freight light was in my local store, says Russ Meadows, so check your local store if you have a Harbor Freight near you. If you can't find it online, apparently. We have Liam Hill, which is a frequent viewer but not a frequent Q&A-er. That's a word here in Texas. Thank you. Liam, he says, good day all. Can you tell me if there's an attachment I can get for my scroll saw to change it from a pin-type fitting to a spiral blade holder? Glad to see you back again, mate. It's good to be back, and I'm going to throw that over to Rick because he had a website he posted yesterday that usually is a good source for finding adapters on scroll saws. And he's probably going to have to try to remember how to spell it.
Yeah, it's Pizzola or something, P-O-Z. We'll have to get a link to it.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description of this video, Liam. I promise you I will, because we had it yesterday. And but thank you for that. Yes, there are places. You can also check with your manufacturer of your saw. Bill Heitman commented twice, says it uses an on and off switch. I like it better on long cuts regarding the foot switch. Maybe he means the power button. I don't know, but he also uses a Harbor Freight and Rockler Light. Thank you very much for your comments, Bill Heitman. I hate to run off with 21 viewers. I hate doing that when there's a bunch of viewers. Oh no, you know what? Let's go a little bit longer because I think the next topic is important.
Actually, if I could jump in on just that last one for just a quick second.
No problem.
On the foot switches, for the guys that's running the regular everyday scroll saw that's just got the on and off switch, that's all there is to it. There's no variable speed. What I used to use before that, just to help these guys out a little bit, was a sewing machine pedal.
Yep.
That way there you could turn your switch on. Your variable speed would be your foot switch. Just wanted to kind of chuck that out there. I don't know if anybody else has, well, I'm sure everybody else has already thought of this, but I don't know. It was just something to maybe kind of kick out there just for the guy that's maybe just getting started and didn't have a thought come to his mind.
I wouldn't say everybody's thought of it because I did not know a sewing machine one would be compatible with it. But the way a foot switch works is you plug your tool into the switch, plug the switch into the wall, and you leave.
Sewing machine pedal is good for up to like 10 or 12 amps, I do believe. And most scroll saws are anywhere between 2.5 and say 3.5 on average, right?
Yeah, and with the tool, whatever tool you have plugged in to this foot switch, you leave the power on the tool and use the, I think they call it a dead man switch. Some of them like a sewing machine thing would be you can control the speed that way, but you can also screw up your scroll saw. And some scroll saws, if they aren't meant to be variable speed, they have a reason behind that, the way it was built. That's just to cover your butt on warranty stuff.
I would like to say something about that. Maybe
Okay, go ahead.
Don't mind me. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry I had to step out for a second, but when I heard what he said, no. The motors on a sewing machine are incredibly different and that's the reason they have a variable speed on the foot pedals. So it would not work for your scroll saw. For instance, my Delta 60, the number anyway, I forget the number, but it would actually, it has a circuit board inside that controls the variable speed. Therefore, if I tried to put a sewing machine foot pedal on it, it would actually irreparably mess with the voltage onto the circuit board that controls the variable speed for the motor and would burn the motor out. My foot pedal does nothing but one thing. It controls on and off.
On and off. My Craftsman 16 inches had a scroll saw pedal put on it for the last 4 years. Never had a trouble.
Yeah, I don't doubt what you're saying, and it could work for a lot of other motors. And
just not all.
Yeah.
Just not all. So I'd be very careful as to what motor I would put it on due to that fact. Now, just like you said, you could put it on some saws that work great, but I know without a shadow of a doubt, if you put it on the Delta or the DeWalt or the Excalibur, it's not going to work. It's going to mess up the motor.
Yeah, and I know Trevor was trying to help, but for best results, look for tool-specific foot pedals. And that being said, we're gonna just run quickly over the last topic because we have gone over an hour, and you're welcome, Liam. I got to write that down to put in the description, adapters. Okay, I wanted to touch on this because I know so many of us deal with it, and maybe not everybody on the panel, but scroll sawing, woodworking in general, can be therapeutic mentally and physically, and I think everybody on this panel can agree. I know what everybody's going through on this panel, but I'll leave it up to them, so whether or not they want to say so. But as Brian, is woodworking and or scroll sawing therapeutic to you, mentally, helping you deal with things?
Oh yeah, I do it so I have more stamina by standing and stuff, because a lot of times I have to sit. But yeah, just go out there and get in my Zen mode and tune out the world.
Absolutely.
I love woodworking, I tell you.
Absolutely, it's a passion. Thank you, Brian. Rick, do you find anything therapeutic about? He does wood turning and scroll sawing. Rick, do you find it therapeutic, or you just the passion of it?
The thing I like about the scroll saw is you don't have to concentrate as much as you do on the other power tools in the shop.
Yeah.
Bandsaw, table saw, drill press. You want to pay pretty close attention to what you're doing. And the scroll saw, my TV from the scroll saw is actually back over my shoulder, and I'll find when I get on straight cuts, I'll turn around and look at the TV while I'm sawing. You know?
That's confidence, folks.
Well, it's real easy to do, and you know I've done a lot of demos, you know, at woodworking shows and stuff, and it's so easy to talk to people while you're doing stuff and just buzz right along. I mean, you don't have to totally concentrate on it and be so serious as you would on a bandsaw or something.
Yeah, the scroll saw is definitely one of the, if not the most safe tool in the shop, because you cannot hurt yourself unless you are trying to. Unless you hold your finger up to that blade, you're not going to hurt yourself. I'm going to go jump to the Q&A real quick and jump back on topic. Just bought a pack of Bosch blades at local Lowe's. Normally I'm an Olsen guy, but they're pretty good, and that's from Lee Knight, and thank you, Lee. Trevor, I don't know if you deal with any kind of mental or physical problem. I know you had back problems, actually. I shouldn't have said that because I was going to leave it up to everybody to determine if they wanted to publicize their stuff. I'm sorry, Trevor. Go ahead.
That's all right. Actually, if you wanted to go over to, excuse me, I'm starting with some allergies. If you wanted to go over to Facebook and check out Trevor's Woodshop and scroll down probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 posts down, there's actually a news link from my local news that they came in and did a little bit of feature or whatever on my back problem and stuff, and how the scroll sawing and a little bit of woodworking has been quite therapeutic to me, yeah.
And you said that was on your YouTube channel?
No, it was on my Facebook page. I wish I could get it to my YouTube channel.
I will help you do that. I think if both my brain cells will work together. But yes, I saw that he was on the news, and I was so jealous, so envious. And he talked about this earlier. He did a video with his daughter, and if you have a child, it is very touching to see anybody do a video with their child in the shop. It just melts your heart. And I'm going to go and jump it.
She did an amazing job. Sorry, Charles, I just wanted to say that quick. She did awesome.
It's okay. The only word you can use is precious. There's no other word for it. But the only reason I'm jumping in before Russ is because I was about to say I'm known for being mental, but on a serious note, audience, I suffer from something called panic disorder, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Long story short, it's anxiety attacks, panic attacks. It's a chemical in your body produced during fear is overproductive, and that's why I was not here last weekend. I was suffering from them. But that being said, that's how scrolling is therapeutic for me. If I'm starting to go into what I call tremors, I will keep scrolling, and like we're going back to the safety thing, it's the safest thing to do if you're going through a panic attack. But it's keeping your mind busy. The key to getting, and I know this show isn't about mental disorders, but if there's anybody watching, do not be embarrassed to come to me privately for advice on how to deal with panic attacks. I'm not the professional, but I've been dealing with them since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. And I have a lot of little mind games you can play to get through them besides just the medication. But I don't want to go too far off topic of things being therapeutic, but do not be embarrassed if you have it coming to me privately, and I will share different tricks to get through panic attacks. But yes, scrolling, the key to getting through anxiety in most cases is to, number 1, breathe deeply, number 2, put your mind on something else. It's not all in your mind because part of it is a chemical imbalance, but putting your mind on something else, whether it be prayer, whether it be scrolling, listening to music, combination of all 3. Well, you probably shouldn't pray while you're scrolling unless your eyes are open. But no offense, God, just saying, you got to kind of watch what you're doing. And I'm trying to throw a little humor in there. And Alan says, glad you're feeling better, Charlie. I appreciate that. I'm glad I'm feeling better too. And that's why I'm being so goofy tonight's show. But I know that a lot of creative people out there deal with mental and sometimes physical disorders, and I know it seems to be what makes them creative because they've found things to keep themselves busy. And but that's my big thing. Is why I don't hold a regular job because.
Yeah, I'd like to say something kind of about that. Is that, yes, and I do have anxiety attacks, panic attacks, is what you ever want to call, and I'm on prescription medication for them, just like Charles. And I think that's kind of a common bond between us two, that we've always didn't know that in in so many years, but we kind of discovered that. But my point is yeah, when I come out in my shop and sit down in front of my scroll saw and I have a project to create or do, and I start cutting on it, I'm talking about literally minutes of me starting to cut on that project. I just have this overwhelming that it didn't matter what happened. It didn't matter what I'm going through. It didn't matter what tomorrow was going to bring. It just all went away. I kept the blade on the line, and I started cutting out that pattern, and it just all seemed to feel better for me.
Yeah,
that's something that happened with me and my scroll saw. So I can say that I do, without a shadow of a doubt, think that woodworking, scroll sawing in particular, can make a difference. It's very, I think it is, without a shadow of a doubt, very therapeutic for any individual who wants to try it. Just get some stress relief.
Yeah, yes, that's another one. And thank you, Russ. I know this is another dark topic for people. People that don't go through it don't realize the impact and I don't know the words to use, the darkness of hell of being in depression. Luckily, I'm better than I used to be, but I have close personal friends that deal with depression. It can take over your life. There's no other word for it. It can make you suicidal. I'm not going to go over all the things that depression does, but if you go through it, you know what I mean. That's another reason. Your self-worth is in the gutter in some cases, and when you can produce anything, whether it's on a scroll saw or any tool, it'll make you feel better about yourself, if not taking your mind off of it. But depression is so debilitating, sometimes worse than almost anything else. I can't even put that into words, but know that you're not alone in that, folks. And there again, I'm not a therapist by any means, but I've suffered very deep, dark depression. I still suffer from panic disorder. So anybody on a personal level, if you want to discuss it with me, just to have somebody else to sound off on.
And I would like to say that also the same thing. Anybody that in any way, shape, or form wants to reach out to any one of us, and I'm sure that we all have our individual things that we can add to our experiences we've been through. So, yeah, just contact one of us. I mean, I don't have a problem with talking to anybody or giving anybody any information. I'm not ashamed of anything that I've been through in my entire life. I'm very proud that I've learned to live with what I have and learn to accept and to go on. And these things that are sitting here is all a production of my anxiety being played out into what I can create, because it has been very, very helpful to eliminate the stress in my life.
All right, thank you, Russ, and I'm sorry to jump to the end, but and I apologize for any viewers that might have been a little bummed by the topic, but I know for a fact that anxiety and depression are very common these days, and please know that you're not alone, even though you feel like you're alone. But to lighten things up, don't scroll drunk, don't scroll naked, but whatever you do, scroll on.